So I started this channel back in March 4th of 2019, almost 6 years ago. And since then I've made 324 videos. I've had 663,000 video views, and I'm up to 3,820 subscribers at this point. This is now the second full year that I've been monetized, so I actually have a bunch of data to kind of look at to suss out some trends and figure out some statistics and stuff like that, which is still something I kind of enjoy doing because it was my old job responsibilities to some extent when I was an investment analyst. Yes, you heard that right. If you have not already known that, I was an investment analyst before I started this fishing business and this YouTube channel. If you want to know more about this story, you can check out the book. Shameless plug. But let's move on for now. Now, since we have a bunch more data to look at, I decided to put the most recent 4 years into an old Excel spreadsheet and try to make sense of a whole bunch of this stuff. Yes, I did have 2 years prior to that, but I didn't take the channel super seriously. It was mostly made for, marketing my guide service and basically proving that I could catch fish and stuff like that. So not super helpful for the first 2 years, but the last 4, something we can read into. I'm going to start with some of the general stats first, things like subscribers. So for example, in 2021, we had 861 subscribers. The next year it went up to 1434. The next year it was 2686, and now 38, 20. I wrote down 10 on this page. That was a few days ago. So the subscriber growth's been pretty steady. That's a good measure of people that are interested in your channel, but at the same time, subscribers don't necessarily indicate views. So it's a good thing to know, but more importantly, I think, are the views. Back in 2021, I had 59,000 views. Then the next year I had 125,000 views. The next year I had 225,000 views. So the views were growing about 100%, basically doubling those 2 years. And then the next year, 2024, last year, 232,000 views, which was not much of a jump. But I decided to do something differently with my channel over the last year and a half, and I'm going to explain that later. It's kind of one of my key insights that I've learned from doing all of this breakdown. Then in terms of watch hours, there was 6,600 watch hours 4 years ago, then 12,600, 23,100, and this year 24,200. But here again, here's the key. In 2021, I made 73 videos. The next year I made 67 videos. The next year I made 50 videos, and last year I only made 42. Again, I'm going to get more into that key insight that I learned later, but it hinges on the number of videos that I made. So before we get into that key insight, let's get into the meat of this stuff, the money, the earnings, probably what you clicked on this video for. In 2021, I wasn't monetized, didn't make anything, and I'm just talking YouTube earnings, straight AdSense revenue at this point. Then I had about 4 months of earnings in 2022, $436. In 2023 was my first full year. Last year, if you watched last year's video, you would have known that I made $1,440 on YouTube AdSense, and this year I almost hit $2,000. $1,987 just from YouTube ad revenue. People clicking on the videos and watching the ads. Of course, one of the other sources is affiliate marketing. So if you put little links and stuff in your videos and people click on those links and buy stuff, you can make some money. I didn't know how much that would amount to. The first year, it really didn't amount to much. It was $43. The next year it was $74. But this year it was $133. So that's growing at a pretty decent rate. And actually, I made $178, I think, as an affiliate for Epic batteries, the lithium trolling motor batteries that I bought. I'll put a link to that in this video as well. I think that was for all of last year, but I didn't get paid until January, so I didn't have it on this data. But that's by far been my biggest source of affiliate income. So people are buying some batteries. That's a cool thing. They get a little deal on some of these things and it goes to help my channel. So I appreciate all of you that clicked on some of my links and bought some stuff. And if there's things that you want to buy, you might as well click on one of my links. Help both of us out, right? Then one of the best things that I ever did was I created a Patreon account. I was a little uncertain as to how well that was going to pan out, if people were going to pay to support the channel. But the one thing that I did put in there are fishing reports. So if you're local to the Lake Sakakawea area up in North Dakota and you want fishing reports, I put super detailed fishing reports. Probably 3 reports a week on average. Pretty good perk for the Patreon account. So if you want to sign up for that, again, I'll leave a link to that in the description, probably here in the video too. But the first year that I did that, I made $1,969. Last year was $3,246, and this year it was $3,580. So again, thank you so much to all the patrons. Hopefully you've been getting some value out of that, the fishing reports, or just the videos in general, because again, I don't make a ton of money just straight as a YouTuber. So if you like the content that I produce, which is totally free to you, by the way, I really appreciate people that go the extra mile and support it and show that they think that it's valuable. So again, thanks to the patrons. Thanks everybody that watches these videos, clicks like, makes comments, subscribes, all that stuff. I really appreciate it. And then the last 2 years, again, I did have some sponsored video content that I did. I made $1,000 2 years ago, and I made $1,000 last year. So that stayed on par, same partnership there. So all told together, my first kind of partial year of monetization, all the YouTube related earnings. Again, Patreon isn't directly YouTube, but it kind of connects to YouTube. So I'm including all these things in things that I wouldn't have gotten if I didn't have a YouTube channel, basically. $2,448. Then in 2023, it was $5,760. And then this last year was $6,700 total from running a YouTube channel. So it continues to grow every year. Again, it's not a ton of money, but it does go a long ways towards helping me continue doing what I do with the guide service, which is my bread and butter, how I make most of my money, which again isn't a ton of money. There's a lot of expenses when it comes to fishing. It's kind of a short season. I can't do it all year round, but I'm finding ways to make this work financially, just fishing and fishing related stuff, which is awesome. That's been my goal from the start of this, or certainly the last few years of it, and we're getting there. It's getting closer. It's kind of exciting, honestly. So now I'm going to get into that key insight that I got from doing this analysis, and to do that, we basically have to break this down on a per video basis, because like I said, I made a conscious decision with my channel to make fewer videos, but try to make them better. And I think that's starting to pan out for me. So if you look at this per video, the first year I was getting 816 views per video, then it was 1,866 views, and then it was 4,500 views, and then this year I got 5,524 views per video. So the views per video is going up, which could just be an indication of the channel growing as a whole, or it could mean they're better videos. I don't know, hopefully it's because they're better videos. Then the watch hours per video, which is kind of on par with that, 90 hours the first year, 188 hours, 462 hours, and then 576 hours per video from 2024. And then if we break that down into earnings, this is the big thing for me. So 2021, 2022, I didn't do any of that because the first year I made no money. The second year was just a partial year. My first full year of monetization, I made $28.80 per video. In 2024, I made $47.31 per video. So that was a 64% growth in how much money I made for each video that I put effort into. So I think that the change that I made is helping me out in terms of getting me more bang for the buck. And that's really what this all boils down to. So my key insight has been, I'm validated in the fact that taking the time to spend more time per video and make each one better, even if I make fewer of them, is making me a decent amount more money each time that I go through that process. Does that make sense? So what do we mean by making better videos? Well, basically, that comes down to a few things, in my opinion, or the things that I tried to do. One was I tried to include more B-roll, and especially more pertinent B-roll, and especially for these talking head videos. If you're just watching one of these videos and I'm spouting stuff off of the camera, that might be helpful, but I think it's more engaging if I'm showing other stuff happening on the screen. It helps reinforce my points, helps further tell the story. And it's not just random stuff. Like, I'm not just showing a random shot of some car driving down the street in front of my house. It's like it's something that is applicable to what I'm talking about, so that you see a visual that matches the verbs and nouns and stuff that are coming out of my mouth, so that it makes sense. It brings a whole story together, right? And speaking of story, I'm trying to make better stories. I'm trying to do a little more narration if there's some things missing and stuff that might help glean insights into how the day went. I'm trying to make it a more beginning to end thing, kind of show more stuff launching the boat or other things that happen during the day of fishing that's not just the technique stuff. I've tried to make two different types of videos on that point as well. Like, there's the adventure videos, that's kind of like me going out by myself, maybe with some friends or family. We're just going fishing and I'm trying to tell the story of the day. Then there's some other types of videos that are more technique oriented, stuff that I would call like topical videos. So I made some videos this year, like my first time implementing forward-facing sonar, which had a lot of tips and tricks for how to get going, how to set the stuff up, how to rig it, the snafus that I ran into, and the troubleshooting that I had to do. So very topical specific. Or maybe it's stuff like how to fish a jigging wrap better for walleyes. A video that is packaged around a certain theme. So if somebody wants to learn how to do a thing, they can go to this video and at least get my experiences with doing that thing. Like I've said before in these videos, like, I'm not trying to say that my way is the only way to do these things. I just do this stuff a lot, so I try to share it with you. And if my experience helps you learn, whether it's because I do it well or because I do it terrible, I am 0 for 2 in rock avoidance at ramps, either of which can be good learning opportunities for you. That's the goal of these more topical videos. And then I've also tried to make what I call more evergreen content. And I shouldn't say that I call it that, like everybody calls it that. But the point being, like, videos that will last over time. So like when I did that boat review video of my Lund, 400 days on the water, that's a video that somebody could watch this year, next year, 5 years down the road, maybe 10 years down the road, and get some helpful information about what they may want in a boat and whether or not my boat works for that person. Or again, back to the forward-facing sonar implementation. Somebody might implement forward-facing sonar 5 or 10 years from now, and that video is still useful. So those are videos that get views ongoing, as opposed to an adventure video that maybe was relevant to somebody that watched it that year, but less relevant the following year. Or if they're like, sometimes people will watch videos because they click on Lake Sakakawea and they want to learn how to fish it or get an idea of what the fishing's like right now. If they're gonna make a trip, well, if that video's a year old, that doesn't do them a whole lot of good. So that's a cool video to do, but it might not get a number of views down the road. So I've been trying to do more videos that can perform for me into the foreseeable future, and then over the long term, continue to trend upwards, get more views. And then other things I've tried to do is I've tried to make better titles and better thumbnails. And what I mean by that is like a title that is very searchable, a title that gives a clear idea of what the video is going to offer them, and then a thumbnail that doesn't just repeat the title, but offers some other piece of information that's still related to the title, but gives them another little piece of the puzzle to get an idea of what they might get when they click on the video and ultimately watch it. This is always kind of a work in progress to figure out what's a title that somebody wants to click on or search for, and what's a thumbnail that'll get them to actually hit the button and click it. But the more time that I've spent working on those things, the better I've noticed the performance of a lot of my videos. So I spent a lot of time on titles and thumbnails, and I spent a lot more time on everything. Like I probably spend at least 2 times, maybe 3 times as much effort editing the videos these days than I used to, which is why I make fewer of them, but hopefully they're better videos. And from what I can tell from my stats, it seems to bear out. So that's the key insight that I've learned. That's how I did monetizing my channel in 2024. I'll probably keep making these videos again in the foreseeable future. If you did find it interesting, I appreciate it if you would click a like to indicate that. Maybe subscribe to the channel if you want to watch more stuff like this, more fishing videos, more anything videos that I do. I'm trying to do what I can to help you by giving a bunch of free content. So anything that you can provide to me to just help my videos get seen by more people is greatly appreciated. And for those of you that are so generous to subscribe to Patreon and help boost the channel that way, thank you. So grateful for everything. Look forward to another good year this year. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later, fisher people.